Hi everyone, and thank you for watching my video on my cemetery fence. Last year I started the build out of a cemetery for my yard hunt. I haven't brought out my tombstones that I did, but you can see my other videos and pictures from last year as far as the tombstones go. This year I wanted to add a little more to my cemetery, so I made a cemetery wall. Real quick look at some of the things that you will need to do it. Now this will also vary based on the size of your yard, of course, and this is a different way of making a cemetery fence. If you look online, you'll find a lot of fences that use PVC piping along with some wood that you cut holes all into. They look really good. They do require a lot of work and a lot of tools that I didn't have. So I had to find a different way to make the walls appear real while at the same time keeping costs low and using what tools that I had. So this is just a tutorial of how I built my wall. My front yard is 22 foot long as far as the area that I want to cover with the fence. I'm only going to be able to do the front part of the yard this year. Next year I'll finish off the sides. Just didn't have enough time really to complete the whole yard, but got the front going. So we'll first take a look at what you'll need for supplies and for tools, and then we'll take you through the process. Before we get started, also I just want to let you know that if you do this, I do not hold any responsibility for injuries or for anything that goes wrong. I'm not a professional builder. These are just things that I put together on my own, so please be careful and do it at your own risk. First, let's take a look at the tools that you'll need. Just kind of laid them out here. One of the first things you'll need is a straight edge, also with levels in it helps. This is a 2-foot one. It's very handy, it's small, it's easy to use. A couple of bucks at a hardware store. The second thing you will definitely need, it's absolutely key, is a Dremel tool of some sort, and then like a 1/4-inch grindstone bit, and you will use it to cut the grooves, the grout lines for the stonework, and you'll see that in just a minute. A large bag of glue sticks, and I recommend a large bags because you will use a lot of glue. This was a brand new bag when I started, and it's probably less than half full now, and I'm still not completely finished. Obviously glue gun. If you have one that melts glue at low temperatures, that's basically preferred when you're working with Styrofoam. But this one works just as well. When it gets too hot, I just unplug it and keep using it and blow on the glue if I need to. But it only takes a couple of minutes for it to cool down enough to use without melting the Styrofoam, so it's not a big deal. A marker of some sort, a straight edge. I prefer these slide kind as opposed to the utility kind. And the reason is it gives you the flexibility to cut very long, thick pieces of cardboard or very thin. This comes in very handy when you're cutting tombstones out, etc. It's only about $2 to $3. A measuring tape, of course, comes in handy. Definitely safety glasses, because when you're cutting out your grout lines, the Styrofoam it heats up, so it doesn't it's not fine, it's not all over the place, but it will flick some pieces in your eye. And of course the most important piece here, this is what they call a pathway cement template or mold. I bought this at Menards. It was like $14. They come in a variety of different styles. I wanted a groove stone or a loose stone style. They didn't have it. This is a mixed brick style, but I actually think it's going to look really good. And then you will need small, I'd say probably like 2x3s, maybe 2x4s. As far as inches go, block Styrofoam studs. This is by 1 inch thick, and then you'll need 15 of these. And well, at least I did for a 20-foot fence. We'll go over it in a minute. And then you'll need the same thickness, just a little bit longer, probably about 8-10 inches long. Support studs here. I picked up 4x8 sheets of Styrofoam. This is the 1/2 inch thick, and I went with that just because it is lighter so it's easier to maneuver, easier to store and work with. It's not going to be as strong as you would with 1 inch, but I only put this out the day of Halloween, so it doesn't have to withstand the elements too long. Plus, as I'll explain later, you'll also have additional support to keep it in place. So let's take a look at the fence that I've completed so far. The fence is 3 foot high, and the top part that goes across is 1 foot wide, which works out really well because you can basically build 2 4-foot panels with 1 4x8 sheet. So I needed 5 because I'm only doing 20 foot of my 22-foot yard. I wanted a foot on each side to kind of round out the front yard. And here is the last panel. I'll get a little closer view. You can see the groove stones that were cut in here. And this is across the top here, as you can see. It's not painted yet, obviously. And you can also see the front. And it's mixed brick. Now what you do is you lay out a sheet of 8x4 plywood, a 4x8 plywood, like this. There's a sheet here. And you lay this template on the ground on the sheet of plywood, just like so. And then you put pressure on it. Basically what I did, I just stood on it, and it'll create the imprints of the template in the styrofoam. And when you're finished, just give me 1 second, pardon the mess, you will see, I don't know if you can see or not, but you'll see the groove lines that are imprinted. And then all I do is I would just take the marker and just create some highlights of where those grooves are, and using my Dremel tool, just cut out the stone shape. And you can see the thickness. The little grout stone grinder works really good. And then I glue them together. Now how did I glue these together? Because I want them lightweight and easy for storage. This panel's not glue here, so I'll just go ahead and take this off. If you look at the back, underneath, you'll see those studs. There's 3 of them. One there, and one on the end. That's what holds the top piece on. And then the bottom, because my yard is actually 4 inches higher than my sidewalk, I glued these support studs on the bottom, about 4 inches high, across the bottom. And the theory is that the front part of the fence here will sit on the sidewalk, and these studs will sit on top of the grass. And then we'll also be running support string with connected with screws or nails through these blocks, and then it'll be run at an angle down to the ground where it's anchored. So that is my cemetery fence. Now the next step will be to paint it, and I'm going to age it. And one of the things I'm going to do is, you'll notice these are all trimmed so that they're even. They're not even because they're just sitting against my wall here. But to hide those seams, I'm just going to get some peat moss, glue it in the seam like it's growing out the cracks. I'll fill it in along the grout line as well, also up across the top, much like you would see on a regular fence. And then I'm going to paint the cemetery wall using gray latex paint, which I'm going to buy at the paint store. And then I will be detailing it with a mixture of blues, moss green, dark green, black, and even a little browns mixed into it to give it an aged look along with the peat moss. I'm also going to take my Dremel and add some cracks and use a wire brush along the edges and just kind of rake it across, which I haven't done yet. but just rake that across to kind of give it a scratched up, weather-worn surface. So that's my fence. I will post more videos as I get more done. This is the second week of October, so I'm running short on time. And then the theme will be the same as last year. It will be a cemetery with zombies and fog. And I actually have several of my friends coming over and some of my friends coming over, so we're going to try to organize basically a big zombie walk in my yard with a bunch of friends and kind of like a party. And then we will all participate in trying to scare the kids, which is the ultimate goal. So, hope you enjoyed my video. And like I said, I will be posting more updates on it. And I will be actually creating some videos of the tombstones I made last year, plus some additional. Something else I'm working on, I'll show you one more. This will be a crypt sticking partially out of the ground. It's not fully painted yet. That was pretty much kind of a trial to see what it might look like. So nothing set permanent, but that is just a plastic bulky skeleton that has paper mache, varnish, and paint. And that's going to be a crypt sticking partially out of the ground. So, have more tombstones, more things to do. I will keep you posted, and thank you for looking at my video.